Listen to One Hit High Point to get yourself a snack while you're high.
And welcome back.
And hello, welcome back to another episode of
One hit.
High Points. So what are we talking about in this one?
Motivation. And how do we motivate? And
Fuck is motivation?
Weedivation.
Oh, I only know Weedivation,
Weedivation.
i.e., a sugar-free Red Bull and a fat rip of the bong right in time for work.
I was gonna say,
I'm kidding.
when I do smoke, I do get quite motivated to do chores.
Certain strains, yeah, certain for sure.
Like I'm almost antsy sometimes. Like I go around, I can clean the house like
Some of them are like Adderall.
no other. I can clean the house. I scrubbed the hot tub for an hour and a half the other day.
Guys, we got a hot tub.
Bubble bubbles, toys and troubles.
Ew.
No, toils and troubles.
Ew. Anyways, he got a hot tub and it's pretty fun. I say we because like I don't want to single him out for something that's so amazing. Yeah, we got a hot tub. Just kidding.
No, we did.
No, yeah, we got a hot tub and it's in the backyard here where we both live. So I guess we did both get a hot tub. It was just given to us by like a courier pigeon. So we both equally yeah, Dad, shut up. Um Um, so Weedivation, we talked about a hot tub and I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, Weedivation. So I think I kind of made that as a joke where it's like I don't have motivation, I have Weedivation. What that means is I feel like sometimes I'm way more motivated and I have way more of an ability to slow my brain down and actually get things done when I am, taking that one hit, one bong hit, one sip pre-workout, one scoop actually, dry scoop pre-workout, a sip of a Red Bull, sugar free. And I feel like I'm more motivated.
Are you more motivated or are you just more like hyped up on a bunch of stuff?
Probably the latter half, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, there's a difference there. Sorry.
no, okay, fine. If I had to be honest, there's times where I randomly just smoke a specific strain of weed, like obviously a sativa, and I'll just start cleaning the entire house. I'll just start like vacuuming, sweeping, mopping, cleaning, doing everything, and I will actually be active on social media.
That is a lot of, your anxieties cripple your motivation to do things. So, like, smoking actually helps the anxiety to kind of lessen. And then all of a sudden, you know what? I do need to clean. So let's go. And you start cleaning.
Right,
And that's
yeah.
some of your motivation is, coping with um, your anxieties and depressions.
Like it levels me out. It levels me out.
Yes.
Like that's kind of what I'm trying to say is, but I just have the hardest time ever articulating myself. I don't know why. But I feel like when I smoke, sometimes my brain just equalizes and I know what the task is at hand and I can do it. I don't make excuses. I don't find, this relaxed state, but there are certain, like I said, strains. And also you can't overdo it. So learning that fine balance. So like if I do one or two bong rips during the daytime, I feel like that's like my soft spot. Like that's the spot where I'm like, yes, like I feel like myself. When I, light up a whole joint and maybe also hit the bong and then maybe wait like another 30 minutes or an hour and do another joint. It's overdoing it. And of course, that's where your weedivation just became the negative weedivation. It's now what?
Weed couch.
Weed couch?
Yeah.
Yeah, weed couch sucks. That's the thing. Like, that's kind of why even this podcast I think was a great idea to call it One Hit High Points, and that's due to the fact that I think you don't have to overdo it. You don't even have to smoke. The whole idea is just to be an open-minded person and to also relax, be centered with yourself, and be as based as possible. And even if that takes one hit, do it.
Forms of like motivation that people typically, go after, like
Gardening.
Gardening,
Having a green thumb, right? I think it's such a beautiful thing is to like.
That's not motivation. That's a hobby.
Okay, well, I think that's motivating to like get outside the house is to garden. And
Yeah, but what forces those people to get out there? Like when you wake up in the day, you say, you know what, I really want to do this. I'm motivated to do this. Like, what is that driving force?
You're responsible for other life. That should always be motivating first and foremost. Otherwise, you shouldn't have a child.
Or it's an inner passion that you have on something. Those are motivating pieces. Like
you have to find a purpose. Purpose is motivating, right? If you found your purpose, boom, you're lucky. If you're still finding your purpose, well, guess what? What makes it exciting to find that purpose? What are you surrounding that purpose around? Like what is that purpose in your mind swimming through? And then what are the small obstacles there? And if you're able to achieve those small obstacles, work towards that because you'll then now have a greater wider vision of said purpose, right?
So like for myself, like, like I get extremely motivated and passionate on, things that, um that has a problem that needs solved.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and that could be as simple as in this light over here is a touch light and I don't want it to be a touch light, so I'm going to rip the wires out and rewire it all together to take out the touch functionality and I put it on a switch.
Hey, this actually happened.
And it did. And the thing is, I was motivated to do that because the problem was, is I got tired of touching the damn little light, and it kept going on and off, on and off, on and off. So I ripped out the touch sensor instead of buying a new light. I was motivated to do that. I like solving problems.
There you go. So your
You know,
purpose in this life, do you feel that whatever position you're in, you're meant to solve problems?
correct. So whether that's problems at home, not like, household fighting problems, but just your typical like maintaining your house or uh, friendships of, like they come to me and say, how do I do this? I need my lights fixed on my fence. Well, okay, I can do this. Like, yeah, there was a problem. I looked at it and I fixed the thing. I like solving things because I like my mind to be engaged.
Excuse me.
My mind is nuts, but it needs to be engaged at times, and there's days that it just needs rest where I want to do nothing.
So maybe there's that balance there you found for yourself. You're 35 years old. You've gotten to this point in your life. You know what you like and don't like. You know who you are and who you're not. So that's beautiful. And for those people who are still at that stage in their life where at your age and they don't know who they are and what they want out of life, like understanding
So
that.
find a passion. So find
Yeah.
yourself basically. No, like I know they sound corny and all of that, but like do those personality tests. I think a lot of them, like if you, I've done like three or four.
Nah.
No, but listen, hear me out.
Mm.
I've done three and four of them, and all of them has always told me the same thing: is I'm a problem solver, decision maker, and that I'm a very like high strung type A.
You want to believe that you are that way, so you will believe anything that says you are that way. Not saying that you aren't that way, but if I read a magazine that told me, hey, feeling sad, yeah. Are you also sad? Yeah. Are you also crying? And because you're sad, I'm like, yeah. Well, then this may be you. I'm like, yeah.
No, that's not the
I
kind
know
of
it's a dumb
personality test.
example, but I'm just saying, like, I don't like to believe things that I want to believe are me. Or are kind of in a way similar to me. Doesn't mean it is who I am. Everyone has their own unique, beautiful
But no, it
personalities.
doesn't tell you that that's how you are. It kind of explains more of
Don't
like,
tell me who I am, Cosmo.
okay, there's the true problem. Is Cosmos steered me wrong for years.
No, I'm just kidding. I only watched. I never actually read those things before. I just know
Yes,
people
you
do.
did.
I never have read those things in my life. On
Well,
God.
guess what? You have a Cosmos subscription coming in the mail.
Okay, whatever. If Nelly Furtado's not on the cover, I don't want it.
It's addressed at one hit high points.
Okay, if it's with us, yeah, I'll take it. But I don't think I'd ever want to be on the cover of Cosmo. Not because I don't want to. I don't see that relating to me. Like
But I was getting back on the
I'm
personality
acting like
test.
this is an actual thing. Okay.
But I was getting back to the personality test. Like what it did for myself was it presented you a bunch of questions and you answer the questions in like how you would solve something or how you would interact with someone, and it kind of built this little personality type thing. Are you a very compassionate person? Are you very like kind of like details or whatever? And what it ended up doing is it allows you to look at how am I perceived, as well as how do I, it basically helps
This
you.
sounds like horoscope stuff, though. Horoscope stuff is all
No,
like that.
it helps
Leo
you interact
rising,
with people and listen, and it
sun,
helps you like
this.
understand, how you come off and how you don't, and
You know what's a
making
good way of
sure.
doing that? Recording yourself speaking to people.
Yeah, I still think everyone should go find some type of personality test.
Sh- Anyone, if you're listening, like, do you genuinely believe in personality tests, or do you think that stuff is just too wide and it tries to hone in on things that you either want to relate to yourself or you falsely believe you are, and that's the reason why you kind of equate to it.
I'm not talking about, like a Libra is this and this and
But you
this.
can't go
That's
into those personality tests without having some degree of pride, ego, and like narcissism to those personality tests. To some degree, I
Yeah, but
feel like
the questions are so like written in a way that you don't know that answer A is gonna steer you here, or answer B is gonna push you there. Like you don't know those pieces in there.
yeah, well,
Anyway,
if that worked for you,
motivation, I think what it did was it helped me learn myself and who I was and how I interact with others. and then that is then helps drives you for the motivation.
I think that when you put like words into action, like that is ultimately what tells you who you are and what you're about. I think this is actually kind of like a dual topic podcast because it's like how do you know who you are? I think we've kind of briefly touched upon this in a previous episode, where we're like, how do you figure out who you are? How do you know yourself? I think I know myself mainly because of my sufferings, right? I learned who I was through my sufferings. I learned what I'm capable of, what I'm not capable of, what my boundaries are, what, all that encompasses, your who you are is what you experience, right? And I'm very aware, self-aware of my experiences, so much so that I can dissect it and understand that pain. And that's how I know about myself. A lot of people don't want to face that pain. They push it aside. They use substances, even though obviously I'm smoking weed. That's mainly for my honest, true reason. I think smoking weed has nothing to do about being open-minded or not. It's more to do with for the fact that like I was suffering with severe shaking anxiety where I could not eat and it was bad from things that happened obviously a year and a half ago. I'm not going to over talk about it all the time.
Well, I mean, there's a good need and a good justification, medically that people take it. It helps with
For sure.
anxiety, depression, and pain. I think your neck is better because you started smoking.
Yeah, and
You
that's
don't.
true. But I think what I'm also trying to say too is just that the fact that now I smoke weed on top of all that is now making me way more relaxed about something that maybe I don't agree with. Like in the past, my passion may have got me into trouble, right? Where I think
Your
that it was like,
passion still gets you in trouble.
no, I
Not as
think
much.
no. I think that's a gaslighting response because or thing to say because when I'm passionate about things, 9 out of 10 times you have to hear why I'm passionate about the things I'm saying that may cause me to get in problems. It's because I'm saying enough. Enough. I'm intolerable to handling other people's problems, and I say enough. I'm not doing this, and or I will over defend my friend. I will defend my friend or a family member to the bitter end, and that passion gets me into trouble. But I don't think my passion gets me into trouble because it's like somehow wrong of me
Hmm.
or the intent is bad. No, in every single instance, if I'm truly being like unbiased to myself, I think that my passion gets me into trouble back. It did get me in trouble back then when I argued about political things that, oh, I'm Middle Eastern by blood and no one understands what it was like to be, basically crucified for just being Middle Eastern back when 9/11 happened, even though I had nothing to do with it, had nothing to do with my country at all or where my family's country was. That's like as if I would still have that same, like, you know, energy to talk about that with people who are maybe not so sensitive to that like kind of thing and they're still maybe making overly offensive comments like that. Back then me would be like, ah, you motherfucker. No, now it's kind of like, listen, everyone is taught a different perspective, and some people were taught with ignorance and some people were taught with education, and sometimes you can lead with love. And my passion now is calm down when it comes to things like that. I lead with love, but I will be damned if I'm not going to be passionate and defend myself in a situation where I'm being antagonized by
Every
people who know me, dude, like people who
you
know
have to
me.
stand up for yourself.
I start getting crazy with people who know me that know better, and it's like you're testing what my my boundaries are. If you're gonna test my boundaries, you're gonna obviously over a period of time, I'm gonna be like a ticking bomb, haha, ticking bomb because I'm a Middle Eastern. I'm just kidding, but I can take the piss out of myself now. I can laugh about things. I don't get offended by certain things, and this all leads to the fact that maybe like when I started smoking a little bit more, I've been a lot more relaxed about topics. I start understanding things where I don't always have to explain them. I'm like content with my knowledge. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I find that I know this now, or I just
well,
discovered this, or
just making sure that as we like come to realization on certain things, as we also keep an open mind towards other things too, and make sure that we listen, like we talked about previously, and just
yeah, yeah. I think smoking has definitely helped, and there's a lot of benefits to it. But whether you're a smoker or not,
balance.
whether you're a smoker or not, because I don't believe everyone should be a smoker just to be an open-minded person or be a relaxed person. Just find your thing that makes you. And honestly, I'm starting to find that this is actually helping me speak. Like eventually, maybe it might just be that this is my go-to thing for all just pure like you know
Find your truth.
center, pure balance.
Find your truth, whether that's smoking,
I know my truth. My truth is that I don't know my truth and I don't know everything and I'm just learning
Mhm.
and that I love being a canvas of every single day. I just love being an open canvas to the world.
That's your weedivation.
My Weedivation is being an open canvas to every single day and what it has to offer. That's such a beautiful way of like kind of saying it,
Hmm.
like thinking it. It's like that's what my Weedivation is. It's every day is a simulation, and I'm just living in it, and I get to be a new character.
And guess what? You
No,
in
that
the
sounds like multiple
simulation, you
personality
have your own
syndrome.
little control, your own little path.
I do, and the things that I can't control, guess what? It's not meant for me to control.
No, so don't get caught up on the things that you can't control. Find your motivation.
Find your motivation. Find your motivation, but most importantly, find your Weedivation. Find that thing that makes you feel centered, makes you feel content with whatever the outcome is. That is the greatest thing. Find that like that just inner freaking mantra, that you're just like, wow, like I know that this is that and this pain is this, but like it's okay. Like
And that could be like some job that could just,
yeah.
a hobby of gardening or, it doesn't have to be one thing or another. And
You sounded like Ellen there when she jumps on the couch all excited.
yeah, so go find your truth. Find something that makes you happy. Find something that makes you, keep that tick.
Just sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Just find it. Find it. And when you find it, let me know what your secret is because shit, I'm still trying. Just kidding. I can't imagine I sound contradictory the entire time. Give me that fucking joint.
No,
Fucking love weed. What? I'm just kidding.
we're gonna go find our Weedivation.
We're gonna find our Weedivation by taking a hit, and we're probably going to start pumping out some of these episodes a lot more frequently. I think we kind of fell short a little bit about something that happened that we're gonna talk about in a later episode in February. We'll get to that as our next episode. How about that?
All right, see you soon.
See you soon. Have a good night.